Hello everybody and welcome back to the Onside Kick Show. If you are here listening with us on KRUI-FM, hello, how's it going? And if you are watching this on YouTube, welcome to the first video episode of the Onside Kick Show. I'm Zach Stein.
Gavin, Lemke, welcome to the show. Happy hump day as usual.
Happy hump day as usual. So thank you guys for all the support on the show. We really appreciate it. That's why we are continuing to bring you new and exciting things such as visual episodes. So let's go ahead and introduce this new form of trivia, which we are doing. Mm-hmm. So instead of fantasyindex.com, cheaters always prosper there, right? And
yeah.
We're not cheaters.
It was kind of bogus, man. I was fed up with Fantasy Index. The question today was, which NFL division has never hosted a Super Bowl? Zach did actually guess that right on his first guess, but personally I thought it was a little bit of an unfair question.
Yeah, I mean, that's just because I'm him. Otherwise I wouldn't have gotten that. But yeah, instead we are here on Pro Football Reference, and we are going to be doing the Immaculate Grid. Mm-hmm. If you guys aren't familiar with the Immaculate Grid, basically every day Pro Football Reference puts out this challenge. It's a 3x3 grid, a couple teams. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be seeing the screen with us. Mm-hmm. And you basically have to guess what player has played for both of these teams or meets the qualifications for the other categories, such as first team, AP All-Pro in today's guess.
Yeah, if you've never heard of Immaculate Grid, just go to like any college lecture and you'll probably spot like 10 dudes playing Immaculate Grid on their laptops.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and jump in. So we got a player for the Bengals, Ravens, Bengals, Rams, Bengals first team All-Pro, Chargers, Ravens, Chargers, Rams, Chargers first team All-Pro, Falcons, Ravens, Falcons, Rams, Falcons first team All-Pro. Mm-hmm. Right off the bat, I'm thinking Julio Jones, Falcons All-Pro.
Yeah, that jumps right off the sheet to me. That's a pretty obvious one, right? My only other guesses would be like Mike Vick.
Yeah.
Roddy White or something. And
then you'll notice, if you're watching on YouTube, 44% chose Julio Jones. So that's a more common answer.
Yeah.
So part of the game is to get the most rare. But I think for the first one, let's make sure we complete it, because if you mess up a guess, you can't get the full grid.
Yeah. So since I'm going on my own, I got this own thing loaded up on my screen. I might enter Roddy White for the Falcons.
You could. You could.
Falcons are pro.
Could do that. I'm trying to think of a Bengal and a Raven.
3%, Zach.
3%?
3% with Roddy White.
Roddy White, I'll give you $1 million if you tell me what year Roddy White was All-Pro.
2010.
Let's check that.
2010, probably with like Matt Ryan.
He was a first-team All-Pro in 2010. This guy knows ball.
This guy knows ball, man. That's what I do. Woo. Ball knowledge.
Charger Raven, I'm gonna go Eric Weddle. That's pretty fair one. It's 30%. Yeah. You know, not bad.
I know. Rams, Bengals, Big Whit, right? The tackle.
Oh, yeah,
Andrew
right.
Whitworth. Played his whole career in Cincy. Yeah. He had a great story, the dude from the Lions, Derek Barnes. Did you ever see when he won NFL Man of the Year, and he was talking about how he used to go to little kids' football camps when he played in Cincy, and Derek Barnes, who's on the Lions now, he like came up to him in the middle of an NFL game. He's like, "Man, you used to come to my camps. Like that meant so much to me." He's like, "I made it to the league, Big Whit."
Dang.
Call him Big Whit.
Yeah, Big Whit.
Big Whit, man.
For real. I mean, look, he's got gray in his beard.
Yeah.
So during an active, he was probably 39 in this photo.
Yeah, when he won a Super Bowl. Holy cow.
Yeah. Let's keep it moving here. I'm trying to think. I mean, Chargers first team All-Pro. Could do a million things for that.
Yeah, LT.
Yeah, LT's.
Keenan Allen, maybe.
I hope Keenan made it All-Pro, but I guess I'm not totally sure.
He had some good years.
I would say LT just to be safe.
Let's play it safe.
Or you know what? I'm gonna go Derwin James. Actually, I think he's an All-Pro.
Yeah.
7%.
7%. That's way better than probably LaDainian Tomlinson. Ravens, Bengals. Hayden Hurst, right?
Yep.
Recently.
It's a good pick. Drafted by the Ravens, first rounder actually. Mm-hmm. Same year as Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews took that job. 20%. Nice pull gap.
Yep.
Ravens, Falcons. Let's go Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman, yeah.
13%.
Ravens, Falcons. You could have went Calais Campbell. You said that was 13%?
Yeah. Calais, I bet you was lower.
Maybe. I'll test it out.
Player to play for the Chargers and the Rams. It's an interesting one.
Well, didn't Weddle also play for the Chargers and the Rams?
Yeah, that is true, but you can't use them both. I got another one for you. Gerald Everett.
Gerald Everett, perfect.
part of that amazing Chiefs-Rams game. I think he scored the game-winning touchdown.
That was a crazy game.
Yeah.
What about Bengals All-Pros? I was thinking like Burrow, but I don't even know if he's too young. Maybe he might not have gotten it. Chad Johnson?
Chad Johnson is possible. Terrell Owens had a year on the Bengals, but I don't think he...
Yeah. The way Chad Johnson talks about himself, like, I would be shocked if he's not an All-Pro.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Trey Hendrickson had 17 sacks this year. Did he get All-Pro?
True.
I'm not sure if he did. I'm going to try Trey Hendrickson.
Go ahead.
But I don't know if that's going to be correct. It's not correct, unfortunately.
How many guesses you got?
Well, I have one left in 2 squares, so you want to throw in Chad Johnson, see if it works?
Let's throw in Chad Johnson real quick. It worked 45%.
Okay. Well, still, he's a dog. He deserves a spot up on the board. Last time I got Falcons-Rams. I feel like there's a D-back or something.
I'm kind of stumped.
Remember Desmond Trufant, Falcons guy? Do you remember?
Yeah, that dude played everywhere, I feel like.
I think. Could be a running back as well.
I got guesses. I'm going to go Trufant.
Trufant, yeah.
Nah, I didn't get it.
No,
I didn't get it.
Player played for the Rams and the Falcons.
Man, you got a best guess at this point?
There's a quarterback named Chris Chandler, and he played for the Falcons in like the 70s and the 80s, and I'll just hope that he also played for the Rams. Let's take a guess on that. That is correct somehow.
Attaboy.
4%.
Who is Chris Chandler, man? Where did you just pull that from?
You know what? I remember him from a pack of football cards that I got as a kid, and I just remember him being on there, and it showed his stat sheet, and he was with the Falcons for a while. Wow, he played his last year
with the Bears
in St. Louis. 2 last years before that was with the Bears. Yeah. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler with Atlanta. That is not bad. Had a 1-13-1 season. That's crazy.
What a pull, man. Respect.
Yeah. Well, hey,
that's real ball knowledge right
I didn't technically complete the grid.
Okay.
So you...
What are you missing right now?
I went Trey Hendrickson over Chad Johnson, which was stupid, but I was trying to shoot for rarity.
Okay.
But...
Yeah, so you could have put Eric Weddle for either Ravens Chargers or Rams Chargers.
Yes.
And then sneaky Rams Falcons that we just totally skipped over, Todd Gurley.
Oh, you're right.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Oh my gosh.
Dude.
Man,
Bro thought of somebody from the 70s or something before he thought of Todd Gurley.
I think of Todd Gurley as Ram for life. I don't think of him as just a Falcon.
I think of him as a Georgia Bulldog, to be honest.
True. Now that's real ball knowledge right there. Well, we'll be doing the Immaculate Grid more in the considerable future because, fantasyindex.com is just not it sometimes. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a comment below on YouTube who you got for this grid. It is Wednesday, February 7th. You can go back and you can play previous grids as well. All right, so moving on. A couple things happened this week per usual. NFL always moving. I know you brought up something really interesting was that now that Kliff Kingsbury is with the Commanders, there's a lot of movement talking about the idea of Washington potentially trading up. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I think that would be a really interesting move. Kliff Kingsbury, interesting hire. You said he was a quarterbacks coach last year for Caleb Williams at USC. I don't know. The only thing that scares me here is that might just be too obvious. And I think Kliff Kingsbury would work well with really any quarterback. I don't know. I think Bears players at least. I don't know about the whole organization, but I know Bears players and fans are still all in on Fields. So I just don't think that Williams to the Bears is going to happen. So if the Commanders get that second pick and he's still available, now obviously if the Bears don't take Caleb Williams, or if they're not planning on taking him one, they'll probably trade that pick. Mm-hmm. And then at that point it would just be what kind of moves can the Commanders make, what can they deal with the Bears to get that number 1 pick. They already had that trade earlier in the season, right, with Montez Sweat. Mm-hmm. So the two franchises, they like each other. I think it would be awesome. I want to see some crazy stuff go down on draft day because I think this is pretty interesting. Like, the teams all at the top, the Bears don't necessarily need a quarterback, but like Commanders need a quarterback. I could see that happening. I think the Bears got to stick with Fields and trade that pick.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it would take to acquire number 1? You're only moving up 1 spot. You're going from 2 to 1.
I think it would take future like first rounders.
Yeah,
probably like
one spot.
Yeah, probably like 2 or 3. I don't know. Bears, are they greedy? Are they a greedy organization?
I mean, we were able to fleece DJ Moore and the first overall pick the year after, and a million other picks for Bryce Young. So yeah, I would say if this pick doesn't go for more than Bryce Young, I would be shocked. Now, granted, they were trading down to pick 9, whereas this would be trading down 1 spot, so you won't give up as much. But yeah, if you're the Bears, you don't trade this pick away, because who says you have to trade to Washington? You know, if they're not going to give you a first round pick, just trade back 4 more spots where somebody will definitely give you a first round pick and more than that.
Yeah.
If you can get an all-pro player out of this too, I mean, that would be huge for the Bears.
Yeah, and if the Bears don't want a quarterback, you could trade back like 4 spots, because they're looking like it's going to go Drake May, or Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, all those guys are going to go ahead of Marvin Harrison and the rest of the pack. So I think if you're trading back and you don't want a quarterback, you could trade back a few picks. It doesn't have to be the Commanders. I agree with you there. But speaking of the Commanders, talked about Kliff Kingsbury, new offensive coordinator. They also hired their new head coach, Dan Quinn. I think that's a great hire. And Adam Peters, GM, former 49ers GM.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Peters, new GM, former 49ers assistant. They really liked him in the building there. I thought Dan Quinn was a weird hire. I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel like it works though. He's like a defensive guy. You saw what he did in Dallas this year. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Backwards hat, defensive coordinator, chilling up there in the box.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see him on the sidelines this year. But yeah, he kind of gives me like a Dan Campbell type of vibe. Like he's really there, going to bring a lot of energy, going to earn a lot of respect from the guys, and really kind of be the head of that defense. While they got Kliff Kingsbury now on the offense. He's a brilliant mind. So I think they're setting themselves up well. And then, with Adam Peters, just try to build through the draft. They got a decent roster right now of skill position players. So, I don't know. Things might be on the up and up for Washington.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even though you trade away Montez Sweat and Chase Young, they have a lot of good young talent there. Their corner room I like a lot. Their secondary I like a lot. They got a good young linebacker on defense. And then the offense, I mean, maybe you can flip Sam Howell for something, or maybe for some reason Kliff is like, we're going to take Sam Howell and make him our franchise guy, but we're going to go get Marvin Harrison. I don't know. It could be a million things that happen. But yeah, picture is starting to come together a little bit clearer now. It would be really interesting if Caleb doesn't go to the Bears. He could very well go to Washington.
Yeah, that would be crazy. And I think he's from Washington, D.C. area. Yep. He's from the DMV, isn't he?
Yes. Grew up in the D.C. area.
Yeah, he could be the hometown hero for the Washington Commanders, and they turned things around pretty quick after they changed their name. They were the football team for a while. They were pretty much just like the joke of the league. New owner, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new GM. I think the icing on the cake would be Caleb Williams, the hometown hero.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that would leave Sam Howell being the odd man out. Let's say Caleb goes to the Bears, then just Fields is the odd man out. There's a lot of quarterbacks who could be on the move this offseason, depending on how the draft shakes out, how free agency shakes out. I did just write an article, a shameless plug here, I did just write an article about the Cleveland Browns and how I don't believe Deshaun Watson or old man Joe Flacco are going to be the long-term solution. So they might look to add a quarterback for cheap. I said in the article, perhaps they could get Sam Howell if they draft a quarterback. Maybe even Justin Fields if the Bears move on from him. Guy like Mac Jones potentially, or they could go free agency. But do you have any quarterbacks that you think that could be on the move? Any of the guys I listed or anybody else?
I don't know. The Deshaun Watson thing just kind of surprised me because they're paying him like $40 million a year, $60 million a year.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. I don't know about like the cap hit and everything. Like, can you just move him? Can you just trade him? Like, no.
Stuck with him for the next 2 years.
So you're stuck with him. The only choice would be to bench him?
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy, now you can go check that article out on my Substack for the full story, but my philosophy was, right, if you're the Browns, you made it to a wild card team with a super injured roster and Joe Flacco at quarterback, which as elite as he was this year, it's kind of laughable. He's like 35, it's Joe Flacco, he was out of the league, earlier, and he came back and he went on tear. If you can take that team to the playoffs and have the number one defense, imagine what you can do with an elite quarterback. And they're paying Watson $60 million a year, right? And they cannot cut him this offseason without incurring negative $150 million, which is crazy. Cow. The following year, I believe it's negative $100 million. But they could opt to do something kind of like what they did, what the Packers did with Rodgers. They draft a replacement and then boom, he wins 2 MVPs back to back. It's like, okay, The Bears kind of tried to do this with Mitch. They brought in Nick Foles. Nick Foles ended up being the starter at one point. So, like I said, go read the article. But I suggest to the Browns they bring in at least some competition that either push Watson to be better and play up to that starting role, or to maybe overtake that job if he's just not good enough. Because with the Browns so far, not only has he not been able to stay on the field due to suspension or injury, but when he has been on the field, he's been less than remarkable. And they've still been winning games just thanks to their defense, and Kevin Stefanski deserves a lot of credit. But if they get another quarterback in there to give him a run for his money, literally, then who knows? That team could be Super Bowl bound.
Yeah, interesting. I just thought of, have the Vikings paid Kirk Cousins yet?
No, they have not, and he's coming off an Achilles tear, headed into free agency. I think they probably re-sign him on a cheap deal, but I could see him going elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean that would be interesting if they brought him to Cleveland, had him work under Deshaun Watson for, I don't know, probably 8 weeks until Deshaun gets hurt inevitably,
right.
And then Kirk Cousins comes in and saves the day, kind of like Joe Flacco did this year.
Yeah,
I could see that happening, but I know Vikings fans want him to stay home. I understand that.
Some Vikings fans, I know a lot of Vikings fans that want them to trade up for Caleb Williams, and as a Bears fan, let me just tell you, good luck, Eddie. Good luck.
I don't know if the Bears are going to make that trade in the division.
No shot. Jameis Winston made an appearance on Part of My Take, and it was pretty funny.
It was hilarious, man. He talked about so many things, pretty much his whole life story. He talked about his college recruitment, shared some hilarious stories of going to schools, practicing or kind of training with the football team a little bit, just like going on official visits. And then he would ask the coaches, like, will you let me play baseball here? And if they said no, he just straight up told them, like, I'm not coming here. Like, he went to Florida, and Florida was pretty high on his list. And he told him, he's like, man, I'm really thinking about coming here, but I just got to make sure I could play baseball here. And they said no. And then he was just, like, immediately left. He was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. Some other crazy stories, like when he first committed to Florida State over Alabama, because he's from Alabama. Apparently, people were sending hate mail to his grandmother.
Jesus.
Crazy, man.
What are we doing?
I don't know how you could do that to a guy like Jameis. It's just crazy. He also talked about playing NCAA 14. Apparently, that was his game growing up. Like, just would never stop playing that game, winning Heisman trophies on the road to glory mode, winning national championships. And he made a statement. He was like, man, this whole time I should have been playing Madden and winning Super Bowls and MVPs. Because he already got the job done in college. He won his Heisman. He won his national championship. But he hasn't been able to transfer that over to the NFL yet. So he said he's going to start playing Madden a lot more. Going to start trying to get to the All Madden difficulty. Going to try to get himself a Super Bowl.
There you go, James.
So to manifest it so that maybe in 2025 or 2026, he's holding the Lombardi.
Virtually.
Yep.
Or virtually first, then in real life.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the goal.
I mean, Jameis just has to manifest it, but he is a free agent right now. Free agent quarterback. He did say on that podcast, Part of My Take, that the Atlanta Falcons would be his number one destination. Now, obviously, it's not exactly his choice. He's got to get the offer first, but I think that would be cool to see Jameis down there. I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I agree. Falcons right now looks like Desmond Ridder is going to be their starting guy, and he was kind of up and down. He had some flashes.
Yeah.
I loved him at Cincinnati, but I don't think he's really shown enough to be the bona fide starting quarterback. But then again, they may want to just run it back with the new coordinator. I forgot exactly who their offensive guy is. Raheem Morris is defensive guy. He's the new head coach.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that either.
Falcons
Yeah, but
coordinator, Zach Robinson. Oh yeah, he was with the Rams. I think he was the Rams QB coach. So that's a pretty good hire.
But yeah, I think Jameis Winston will work out anywhere, man. I think I told you on this show, probably one of our first episodes, I said Jameis Winston's like a top 25 quarterback, and he's not starting, and I had no idea why. But even if he's not starting, man, I would sign him to like a $20 million deal per year just for like his locker room presence and the energy that he brings to the squad. He talked a little bit about the handoff to Jamal Williams that they had at the end of the season to get him his first touchdown. He did admit, he was like, the one thing I would have done, go back and change, was he wouldn't have lined up in the victory formation.
Yeah.
Which it's pretty obvious there, kind of a little bit of a slip up. But overall, he said his team was down for him. They were all rocking with that decision, and even the organization, they were rocking with that decision, and they love Jameis. So I think it speaks a lot to his character.
I thought it was funny. There was a video of him going viral. He was like holding a sleeping baby and like preaching to a church. Hey man, like I'm Jewish, but that inspired me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, it gets you spiritually kind of awakened a little bit. He's also got some hilarious just like training tactics that he uses. It's kind of like the C.J. Stroud method. If you see him before games, like shooting the basketball, swinging a baseball bat just to get loose, swinging a golf club. Jameis will drop back in the pocket like as he's training. He's got a helmet on, but then he's like this, and he's got a baseball bat in his hand. And instead of throwing the football, he'll just swing really hard a baseball bat. It's hilarious. I don't know, man. I love that dude. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL, to be honest.
Interesting guy. Just hide your crab legs when he's around. So, but yeah, that's awesome. I mean, good appearance there on a podcast. We're hoping to get some appearances like that on our podcast sometime.
Yeah, very soon.
Jameis, if you're listening, come on. Another random thing I saw this week. Do you remember legendary white running back Rex Burkhead?
Of course.
Yeah, spent some time with the Patriots. Led the Texans in rushing one year, a couple years back. So man just hung up the cleats. Rex Burkhead. Go for any Sporkle quiz. Sporkle, you get online, you get some trivia. You'd be like, oh, running backs. I feel like he appears on like every Sporkle. Just somehow he's getting scrimmage yards.
He reminds me a lot of like Danny Woodhead.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna bring up Danny Woodhead. Similar type beat.
Same exact player.
Yeah, good rusher, but for the most part, they get the yards through the passing game. Yeah. So just shout out Rex Burkhead on a nice career. Accumulated just 1,900 yards in his career rushing.
Wow, really?
Yes, just that much. However,
but he was the Texans' leading rusher in 1 year. How many yards did he have in that year?
I'll let you guess on that one. I'll give you a hint. It's not impressive.
500.
Lower?
Damn. 440 yards.
427. So pretty close.
I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah, exactly. They gave him 122 carries for no reason. They had Mark Ingram and Philip Lindsay and a ton of people in the backfield, and they were like, Rex Burkhead, you got it.
Workhorse, man.
Yeah,
he's for the team.
All respect to him though. He was a baller. Just one of those guys you see on Sporkle quizzes and Madden. So happy retirement, Rex Burkhead. Also Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. So.
Yeah, respect that. In other news, Lions fans, they're talking about new uniforms. Woo. I've been seeing the graphics for the last 5 years of Amon-Ra St. Brown wearing the alternate uniform, the old school uniforms that we used to have, and the black uniforms. We used to wear the all black. I don't know. They haven't announced what they're coming out with yet, but they're coming out with alternate uniforms. I'm hoping it's kind of a throwback vibe or the black uniforms because I miss those. I think they're going to announce it at the draft, which happens to be in Detroit.
That's fire.
So, yeah, I mean, Detroit's just on the up and up. I'm excited for next season. Next season's got to be the year.
Hey,
it's got to be the year.
We talked about it last week on the show. That was a great episode. If you didn't peep that, it's an audio episode available on YouTube. Yeah, we talked about how the Lions are in a pretty good spot. Ben Johnson coming back. They're just even more motivated to get that win now. They got a taste of it. Mm-hmm. They're going to be back. They got the same pieces for the most part. Yeah. Aaron Glenn didn't end up taking a head coaching job, so hopefully he stays in Detroit. But yeah, I love all of the alternate uniform concepts that have been drawn up over the last couple of years. I think the biggest one I can think of, the Bengals white helmet with the stripes. That would be so clean.
Yeah, and it feels like
do that anytime soon. I don't know.
The Bengals with the white.
Yeah, or did they?
They did that.
Oh, they did.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I'm saying that's something that started. I feel like the first time I ever saw that was on Instagram. You see somebody make an edit of that, and they're like, "Oh, wouldn't this be cool if they wore these white tiger stripe uniforms?" And then they actually ended up doing it. So
yeah,
I keep seeing these edits of just dope looking Lions throwbacks, Lions all black uniforms, and they look sick and they're getting me excited. So Lions, don't blow this one because I was pretty excited about the alternate helmet that we revealed last year. That's the type of stuff we get excited about. And then when I saw it on the field, I didn't love it. I didn't love that they wore the all grays with it. So hopefully they surprise me this year and come out with some dope stuff because I would have to buy a jersey immediately.
Oh yeah. No, it's Bulls did their City Edition and had the little, almost cursive font on it.
Yeah.
It was the white with the little red on the sides. That was so cool. I had to get that immediately. Yeah. Uniform, NFL fans big on uniforms. Yeah. So any NFL team that makes alternates or just any type of new design, that's money in the bank. So yeah, I would agree. The Bears, there's been some, not speculation, but concept art of an all-white uniform similar to that Bengals one. And I just think that looks so clean.
Yeah,
so
you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with all white or all black
right.
uniforms. Like, it just looks so sick.
Yeah.
And especially the Bengals with the tiger helmet. I think they played in the snow. And there's like a picture of or there's a video of like Joe Burrow like warming up, and he throws a pass in slow motion, and it's just like the uniform just makes it look way sicker.
No, yeah, 100%. Well, the Senior Bowl just happened. The Reese's, not Reese's, the Reese's Senior Bowl. There were a lot of players that had their draft stocks skyrocket. A lot of players that maybe dropped a little bit on boards.
Mm-hmm.
I have here on our sheet highlights, top performers, and cool names.
Cool names.
Yeah.
A lot of cool names. I feel like that's what the Senior Bowl is about. Like, what else is the point of it, really?
Talk about it.
Marcus Rosemead Jack Saint. That's just all pro right there in his name. Obviously, the people know Kool-Aid McKinstry,
Yep.
Chop Robinson.
Yep.
There was a lad over at the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Bowl.
Solid lad, yeah.
Solid lad. His name was Lad McConkey.
There you go.
I like that. I don't even know what position he plays, but I want him on my team.
Receiver.
Wide receiver?
Yeah.
I want him on my team. I want Lad McConkey on my team. That's just a dope name.
Yeah, he's a solid lad for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Marcus Rosemead Jack Saint, but the last three guys are all dogs.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid's going to go in the first round probably, maybe back end. Depends on how well he tests.
Yeah.
If he's Bama corner, he's sick. Chop Robinson is one of the fastest DNs in this draft. He's probably going to run like a 4.4 or like maybe even a high 4.3. He's electric. And Lad McConkey is a really solid guy from Georgia, so probably could go in the third or the fourth. So yeah, I mean, a lot of cool names there.
Yeah.
Some guys who played well too.
And I think the names are just going to keep getting cooler as these kids just get younger and younger. There's a dude who just committed to Montana this year, and his name is Tommy Running Rabbit. Like, it's spelled like Running Rabbit. So I can't wait till that guy's in the NFL. I can't wait till he's on my Madden team.
I gotta place a name to face on this. Tommy's Running Rabbit.
Yeah, and he's from Montana. It only makes sense.
You know, I was gonna say that sounds like some sort of like Native American name, and I would say it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick, regardless.
Yeah, that's just dope. And I feel like he would fly up like draft boards so quick once they just see his name. Like, I feel like at first with Kool-Aid McKinstry, it was like, oh, it's Kool-Aid. Like, yeah, he's probably gonna be a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
But then on the field, he actually showed it. So yeah, that kid's gonna actually be a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Chop Robinson, but yeah.
Ballers.
A lot of good names and a lot of good names to look forward to in the future.
Yeah.
If that's the type of thing you get excited about.
100%. I'm actually gonna, since we're talking about the Senior Bowl now, one of our questions for today by Daniel was whose stock rose most during the Senior Bowl. I have two guys that I want to give a shout out for the Senior Bowl. Number one, there was Malachi Corley. He is a wide receiver who has shown a lot of talent, but the Senior Bowl was like, that was his day. I mean, Western Kentucky, a guy who, I don't know, could go in the mid-rounds, but frankly showed a lot of good talent, like in terms of hands, and then the physical is going to be what matters a lot at the combine, like when they do testing and stuff like that. But he could have shot his way into like the second or, I don't know, maybe even the first round. So that guy's a dog right there. But the guy I watched a lot of during the Senior Bowl, Tylese Fuaga, from I believe Oregon State.
Yeah.
We're gonna check on that.
Yeah, the tackle, right?
Yeah, and now I think for the tackles, there's probably two or three guys that are like right at the top that are pretty bona fide studs. Aside from that, it's a really deep tackle class. As Daniel Jeremiah said, you can put all their names in a jar, shake them up, and then pick one and take them the first. But Tylese Fuaga, absolute mauler. He's a behemoth, 6'6", 340, and yeah, he showed a ton of power in the Senior Bowl. He was just bodying people. Went against some of the best senior DNs and just showed so much strength. And I think that probably his stock rose a little bit. He might be the second or third tackle off the board. For the sake of time here, let's go ahead and talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. We got the big dance coming up. And we gave our score predictions last week. I think both of us are taking the Chiefs, correct?
Yeah, I might switch that up. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like the Niners. My mind just completely switched.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I think the Niners are going to run it just all over them. I think they're going to run for like 300 yards. I just was watching like media day all week. Just people asking questions like, what's going to be the difference in this game? Like George Kittle, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, they're all saying like we're just going to run the ball all over them.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a glaring weakness in the Chiefs' defense, and I think they're going to exploit that on Sunday.
Pound the rock.
Yeah, what do you think? Are you still rocking with the Chiefs?
I'm still rocking with the Chiefs just because I think that their defense, they know how to shut down players. They've had all year to study McCaffrey. They shut down Lamar Jackson, and that running game was best in the league. They were able to shut them down. And so I think that it's very real. The Niners are going to try doing that, but will get stuffed. Now, with that being said, though, I think that both of these teams are going to need to throw the ball a fair amount of times. And I think that Pacheco could potentially have a big day, but I still think it's just going to be like Mahomes versus everyone. He's going to be doing crazy stuff all over the field. Yeah. This is the healthiest he's ever been going into a Super Bowl. Wow. So I think that is a big thing as well. I mean, when he played the Buccaneers, both of his tackles were hurt, and he was pretty banged up as well. And he was still going around in a bum ankle, like doing crossbody throws. Or no, bum ankle was the Eagles. But he still played amazing then.
Yeah, I don't know if he went into the game against the Bucs with an injury, but I think he did get injured and played through it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would hate to bet against Mahomes, but I don't know. I feel like the stars are aligning for San Fran. I want to see Trent Williams get a ring. Like, if anyone deserves a ring, it's him.
Trent Williams, yeah.
It would be a pretty cool story to see Brock Purdy get a ring as well. I think if he plays like he played against the Lions, they got a real shot at this.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Do you think anything's at stake for this game in terms of player careers, whatever?
I think if the Niners win this, I think Trent Williams might retire.
Yeah,
I think that would be a great way to go out. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I don't know.
Well, like Andy Reid.
Yeah, I've heard his name. I've heard people talking about him retiring. Yeah, maybe if the Chiefs win, Reid and Kelsey go out together, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, man. Andy Reid's got such a good thing going for him with Mahomes. He's got Mahomes for the next 9 years. Like, right. I don't know if I see him retiring after this season, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely discussion to be had about that.
Yeah, it's possible. I think we could see some surprising retirements like Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. You know, Andy Reid's getting up there. Travis Kelce's body's hurting a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of them run
maybe Chris Jones.
Well. Yeah, Chris Jones. He just got paid, maybe.
True.
Who knows? I mean, if Sean McVay was thinking about retiring a couple of years ago, then anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Gavin, you got a flashback for us today?
Got a little player flashback for you. Tell me if this rings a bell. Sean Taylor.
Oh, that rings a bell.
University of Miami product. Played out there with Ed Reed, Frank Gore, all them. Drafted by the Redskins. Obviously, if you know him, you know the story. Passed away way too early. He was only 24 years old. Only got to play 4 seasons in the NFL. He was at his house in Miami. It was a home invasion. He got shot and killed. It was just a horrible story, but what a career that he had in the short stint that he was in the league. If you haven't seen the highlights, please go look it up. And the reason this kind of came to mind was obviously the Commanders have been making a lot of moves lately, but also the Pro Bowl was this past weekend. And Sean Taylor has one of the most legendary plays in the Pro Bowl. I think it actually probably is the most legendary play in the Pro Bowl ever, where they try to run a fake punt. And it was back in the day when you could still hit in the Pro Bowl. Guys were still hitting, and he took this guy's head off. No fear, Sean Taylor. No, he was taking anybody's head off. He was kind of from the same ilk like Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins from that era. Just hard-hitting guy. Super fun highlights to watch. And check out the stats through just 4 seasons. It was ridiculous. It makes you think like what he could have gotten done in a full 10-year, 12-year career. It would have been crazy.
I'm glad you brought this up because a lot of people are like, oh, Sean Taylor, he's a legend, like we know him, he died too early. But yeah, I don't think people realize this guy could have been like a perennial all-pro player had he played longer. Mm-hmm. I'll point out one statistic for you. In 9 games, this was his last season in the NFL, unfortunately, but 9 games, he had 5 interceptions, 9 pass deflections, a forced fumble. He was an all-pro, or second-team all-pro and a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was a baller. 5th overall pick in 2004. 4th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting that year. 2-time Pro Bowler. He was a baller.
Yeah. On top of it, like they did him dirty with that. So I'm glad that the Commanders owner is out of there. I'm glad that they got a whole new pretty much whole new organization going on.
That's one of the last relics from the crappy Dan Snyder era.
Yep.
Just disrespecting Sean Taylor, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that one. Got to give him a shout out for what he did on the field and in that Pro Bowl specifically. That hit was iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, missed those days.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you, Zach. Buddy of mine, Tyler, he asks, is the NFL staged?
It's the NFL staged. This guy think he is.
Hey, who's this guy? What does he know?
Man.
Is this the same guy that asked if it was over for Lamar and the Ravens?
I think it was.
I think that's the same guy.
We got to filter down these questions.
Yeah.
You know, I will say this. The more and more I watch the NFL and I watch the refs, the more I start to question the possibility of people having money on this game, and just based off of so many conspiracy theories that are out today, you can't really point your finger and be like, this is true. There are some games I'm like, all right, there's no way like that. I mean, the Lions-Cowboys game, I'll give you that. Like, he went over it with the refs pregame when he reported eligible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not going to get myself in trouble here. I will say this. The NFL cannot be staged that much because the players will find out. This is their dream. They're not going to take a bag and then, like, fake a play. You know, that's not how that works.
I think one thing that the NFL could do to kind of hush this narrative is start automating spots. When a player goes down and the ref just goes up and grabs the ball and puts it wherever he wants, like, that could so easily be automated using technology like the VAR that they have in the Premier League or the Champions League.
Yep.
It could be something like that. I think that's just a step that they got to take. But no, I don't think the NFL is staged.
Agreed. Nice try though, Tyler. Trying to get us in trouble. Let's squeeze in one more question here. Is NIL/transfer portal ruining football?
I don't think it's ruining football. I think it's ruining.
Pretty good song.
You know, I love corn.
Gavin loves corn. If you didn't know that already, now you do.
But no, I wouldn't say it's ruining college football exactly. I just think it's changing college football. I think college football is headed to a place where we're not going to see conferences anymore. Obviously, the Pac-12 is already gone. I don't think the ACC is going to be around for much longer. I think we're going to get to a point where it's just the Big Ten and the SEC, and they're not regulated by the NCAA. I think they're just going to be leagues, and that way, I don't even think these players are really going to be amateurs anymore. I think in a few years, maybe a decade, college football players will be considered professionals. I think it'll just kind of be like a stepping stone on your way to the NFL, and it's going to be like much more big league. And it does kind of suck for like small schools like Kent State. Like, you're not going to get a Quinion Mitchell coming from Toledo anymore. Right. Like, that stuff's sad, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well said. Could not have said it better myself. We're out of time for today, but if you guys did enjoy the episode, make sure to hit the like button on YouTube. Tune in every Wednesday on KRUI.FM. From the Onside Kick Show, I'm Zach.
I'm Gavin. Thank you guys for listening.
Take it easy.